Guess who spent a bunch of money again? So recently I have been to another retro gaming convention as well as a little game shop nearby, and I've allowed myself to finally get a bunch of games again, because this is actually the biggest stack of games I've bought for myself in, I think, ever. So I thought I'd just share with you what I picked up, because there's stuff I've been wanting for a really long time in here. There's stuff that I wasn't necessarily looking for, but what I could pick up at a really good price. And I can even show you one of my new consoles for the first time. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so I'm gonna start with all the stuff that I got at the convention, and then I'll show you what I got at the game store. Let's see here. Alright, so I guess I'll start with all the Nintendo stuff. So the first game I picked up was one that I wasn't necessarily looking for, but I got it for a very good price. And that is WarioWare Mega Party Games for the GameCube, which is a multiplayer WarioWare game. Usually these games are mostly single player, but I personally am a very big fan of them and I would love to play them with friends. So now that I have this, I can finally start doing that because I don't have one of the games for the Switch. So I'm very much looking forward to playing this one with some friends. So now that we've had the GameCube game, we're gonna move on to the Wii, or, well, technically this is still a GameCube game. Anyway, it's new Play Control Pikmin. And I'm actually really happy that I found the Wii version, because there's a pretty big difference in how you control the game between the Wii and the GameCube. So if you don't know, in Pikmin you play as Olimar, and you are in control of a bunch of tiny creatures, and the way you can send them to do stuff is by using a pointer. In the GameCube version, however, that pointer is locked to where you are looking, and on the Wii, you can actually use the pointer functionality of the Wii Remote to aim the pointer separately from where you're looking at. So this is a great way to play this game, and I've never played any Pikmin games. Now I have given this a try for a few hours, and it's fun. It's great. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing this one some more, and I'm very glad I have added this to my collection. So now we're moving on to the Wii U, because I also got a game for that one, and that is Super Mario Maker. Now, I know Super Mario Maker 2 is probably the game to get now, because you can actually still play that one online, and this one no longer works in that way. But I got it for only $5. Once again, a very solid addition. Now we're moving on to the Switch, because I also picked up a game for that console at the convention. Because as you all know, I hope, I am playing through all the Mario Party games to make a series about it. And yes, the GameCube video is coming soon. It's just taken a lot more work. A lot of stuff happened in my life, so I'm currently still working on it. It's a giant project, but it's coming out soon, so stay tuned. Anyway, I of course need all the games to be able to make a series like that, and so I picked up one of the games I didn't already own, which was Super Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch, the first one that came out on that console. Now, is this one of the best Mario Party games? Okay, so Super Mario Party. Think about everything that makes a Mario Party game great, and throw that out the window. It's not one of the best, but it's a Mario Party game. You can have fun with it in a bunch of different ways. It's not one of the best. It's not a bad game. It's just also not a good one. But still, I am excited to give it a try, and eventually, once I arrive at the Switch games, I'm curious to see what my eventual opinion on it will be. Maybe it will surprise me. I don't think so, but we're gonna find out once we get there. Okay, so that was all the Nintendo stuff I got at the convention, and I have a couple of other games to show, the first of which being a racing game that I have wanted to pick up for a while, and the game I'm talking about is Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing for the PlayStation 3. Basically, this is Sega's version of Mario Kart. You can play as the Sonic characters, you can play as other Sega characters. It has some pretty cool tracks, also based on all the franchises. So it's kind of like a Super Smash Brothers kart, but then with Sega characters. So it's cool. And then finally, I've got something big to show, because I also picked up games for Xbox consoles. Now you might be thinking, Gamefish, you don't have an Xbox. You might also not be thinking that, but in my game room tour video I made in 2024, there was no Xbox to be found. And I also never showed this on the channel because it didn't fit in any of my videos, and I also didn't want to make a short out of it because I don't like making short form content. But I bought a limited edition Gears of War Xbox 360. And so I bought that thing pretty impulsively because I was just browsing Marktplaats, which is the Dutch version of eBay, basically. And I saw this console for 40 bucks. Now you might know that that console is worth way more than that. So I kind of thought it was too good to be true. So eventually I went to the house where they sold it, and just this really sweet woman opened the door and she said, oh yeah, my kids have a PlayStation now, so they're not using it anymore. So then I knew it would probably be legit, and I actually got it for the 40 bucks, which is insane. I've got one of the controllers here, and it just looks magnificent. The design of this one is so cool. So yeah, I'm really happy with that because I've never owned an Xbox console. I've played on them in the past, but was never really drawn to the brand considering it doesn't have that many exclusives, or at least exclusives that I really want to play. But I've got a few of them here because there are a couple of them that I'm interested in. First of all, Gears of War. Obviously, if I have a Gears of War console, I want to own the game that the console is designed after. But, you know, even though this isn't necessarily a franchise that I think is really my thing, it's an exclusive. I'm gonna try it out. I'll see if I like it. If I don't, it was only 4 bucks. It's fine. The other two games I am a little more excited for because I have never really played any form of Halo game because I never owned an Xbox and my PC doesn't run games because it doesn't have a graphics card. But now I can actually try out a bunch of those games. So the first one is the original Halo. I can play this on the Xbox 360 because it is backwards compatible with original Xbox games, most of them, but I'll get to that. I have started playing this. I've played like the first hour or so, and it is so 2000s, my god. But yeah, never played these before. Curious to see what I'm going to think about them. I do honestly think that it feels quite modern for the time this came out, because I think it released in like 2002? 2004 it says on the box. But yeah, I'm curious what I'm gonna think about this one. It's a cool one. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. And the other Xbox game I got is probably one of the most interesting Xbox exclusives. I don't think it has gotten a release on another platform, but it is Fable, which is an RPG where your choices decide whether you become a good guy or a bad guy. A very interesting concept. The only unfortunate thing is that my Xbox console apparently needs an update to be able to play this thing. So I'm going to have to scour the internet for that one. Regardless, this is a cool game, and whether or not I am able to play it, we'll see in a bit, I guess. Unfortunately, there also was something in the lot that didn't work, which was this PlayStation 3 controller. I really wanted an original one because I only have a third-party controller for this console. But unfortunately, this one doesn't work at all. It doesn't charge, whether I plug it into the console or into the wall. When I press the PlayStation button, the lights just won't turn on. So if somebody knows a thing or two about repairing PlayStation 3 consoles, let me know in the comments, because I don't intend to let the 15 bucks I paid for this go to waste. So yeah, let me know. So that was all the stuff that I bought at the convention, but I hadn't spent all of my budget yet. I still had some left over. So I thought I'd stop by a little game store, and I don't think that I could have gotten luckier. So the first thing I picked up was Shin Megami Tensei 5 for the Switch for 10 bucks. I think that's a really good deal, but I'm not sure how expensive this one usually is. But regardless, I am a big fan of the Persona franchise, which is, I believe, a spin-off from Shin Megami Tensei. I really wonder how different this is from the Persona games, so I think I will enjoy this one as well. And it's just nice to be able to play this on the go, or in bed, which is usually where I play my Switch. Okay, so that was the first thing I picked up for a pretty good price. But the other thing was fucking incredible. Okay, so I am a huge fan of the Professor Layton franchise, and I've played all of the games that were on the DS, which are the first 4. The last 2, however, are for the 3DS. And one of them is Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask. This one usually doesn't go for that much, but I see a lot of people asking like 25 to 30 bucks for this, and the store actually sold it for 10, which is a pretty good deal. I did get the Dutch version, which I think is a bit of a shame, because a bunch of the Dutch voice actors for this game are not very good. I don't want to discredit or bash any of the people that worked on this game, because there are a couple of really good voice actors in it. But I think the most important one, which is Professor Layton, just doesn't work that well. He sounds so monotonous or something. I had played the second game in Dutch too, but there was a different voice actor for Professor Layton, and I honestly think that that guy was a lot better than the one that does this. But regardless, I'm very happy I got this one, because as I said, usually people ask a lot more money for this, so being able to buy it for only 10 bucks is a steal. But the next one is even crazier. This is Professor Layton and the Azran Legacy. The thing with this game is that people ask between 60 and 80 bucks for this game, usually. And I don't know why, because when you look it up on price charting, the European version goes for about 25 bucks. So what I think goes wrong with all of those is that they look at the American pricing of this game, and that they're thinking, oh, this one is worth 80 bucks. I'm going to make a shit ton of money off of this. Okay, so this usually goes for an obscene amount of money. And I went to the store and I saw it there, and I was really wondering what price they would put on this. And it was priced at 60 bucks. So I was thinking, what the hell? Why does everybody price it so high? So I just thought, you know what? I'm just gonna ask the owner of the store, why did you price it at that? And so we got in a bit of a conversation on why it was priced at that, but eventually he said, we also priced it at that so that there wasn't going to be somebody that bought this from him and then sold it for way more money. But then he said, you know, for the collectors, we can always look at the price again. So long story short, I ended up paying market price for this, which is 26 bucks. So I'm very happy. And as luck would have it, the money I had left over in my wallet from the convention was exactly enough to pay for the 3 games I bought at the store. So I got by far the best haul of video games in my life, and I'm very happy about it. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for listening to me yap about the stuff I find interesting. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. And if you'd like to have a bit of an impression of what the convention was like, last year I made this video in which I actually recorded at the convention itself.